is we are beginning to get more preliminary information coming in from outside the Columbia area. That seems to be where we have the most significant of the storm reports. We tracked a dozen or so tornado warnings with you on the air this evening, but it is this one in Columbia that has yielded a couple of the preliminary storm reports coming in from the National Weather Service from what is a potential tornado. We won't know for sure until daylight hours tomorrow when the National Weather Service actually makes a trip out there to look at the damage. But a possible tornado was seen in Lexington County at 7:04. Social media imagery shows damage at Red Bank Baptist Church, and they got some trees down in that area. Again, that's 7:04 Lexington County, Red Bank. They've got some damage at church. We'll see if we can find those photos in a moment. Lexington County, time being 7:20. Public reported top twisted from pine tree and other tree damages on Jana Court. And also back into the Columbia area itself, any power lines down with heavy damage along Saluda Road. Time estimated based on radar, possible tornado caused damage at 7:18. Again, power lines being down. The other thing we got across the Columbia area since we last talked to you is a flood advisory. And I'm scrolling here on my computer screen trying to find the imagery that I want to show you, which we looked at this camera a couple times tonight from the USGS. And you can see just at the bottom of your screen there's plenty of water running through that waterway there. And so we do have a flood advisory as the environment and the environment in Columbia and elsewhere across the Carolinas is still dealing with all of that rain that just came on through today and saturated areas that already had a ton of rain come on through this week, And the other thing I wanted to try to see real fast is I'm going to do a quick Twitter search for Red Bank Baptist Church because we did obviously, as you saw as well as I, in that storm report there, allegedly there's some photos of this online, and we're going to take a quick gander here to see if we can find them. Because certainly right along that interstate is where we had that possible tornado come on through. And again, this will be one of several areas that the National Weather Service from Columbia goes on out tomorrow to take a look at some of this. Let's see here real fast. I'm looking off at our Twitter screen to show you what I've got here. And yeah, I think I've got it. Let me go ahead and pop this up on the screen. I believe this is what the National Weather Service was referring to in their storm report here. We've got a Twitter picture, and if you look very carefully, there's some columns, white columns on the front of the church. One is bent sideways. That is just in front of the door. And I'm going to imagine that there should be another one to the left where that roof angle comes on down, and there doesn't seem to be one there, and I suspect there probably is supposed to be there one. There's another angle of that where you can at least see, although the photo is sideways, that column isn't quite perpendicular either. And again, this is the one beam down, that one structural beam, one leaning, and one missing at Red Banks Church. This is from Evan Dees. That's EDEESE Lex1 on Twitter. So thank you for posting those and sharing them with the news media, as well as our own Chris Jackson. I see you tweeted at Chris Jackson at National Weather Service Columbia as well, and using the hashtag SCWX. So thank you very much, Evan, for relaying that to us. We'll give you a retweet here as well, too. It's another reminder that as you're able to safely go back outside, if you were in an area that was impacted by a storm today, you can use that hashtag SCWX to let the National Weather Service offices in your area know exactly what was experienced. But again, we do have reports of structural damage, trees and power lines down along Lexington County from a possible tornado around the 7 o'clock hour. National Weather Service will be out there tomorrow. They will also be going to Edgefield County, South Carolina, where a possible tornado at about 6:15 brought down some large trees and caused a home to have damage on Woodlawn Road in the Meriwether district. So it seems like those tornadoes that were essentially following the interstate there, leaving behind some damage. We don't have reports of damage from elsewhere in the state in the South Carolina area. We do have outside of Hinesville, Liberty County in Georgia, multiple trees down on US 17. So if for some reason you're watching us from just across the border over there, we do have one reported injury following a multi-vehicle crash, also in Liberty County, Georgia. This was between mile marker 70 and 73 on Interstate 95. Damage included a truck that was hit by storm debris, possibly a tree. A camper was flipped over, and a motorcycle hit a downed tree, and the motorcyclist was injured. That is the unfortunate, perfect example of why traveling during severe weather can be so unfortunate. because not only do you have high-profile vehicles like that, but you also have motorcyclists out there, so who are all very susceptible to the elements. So we have at least one injury there, not too far from the Carolinas. We don't have any confirmed injuries yet from storms into the Carolinas, but we are still getting preliminary information back in. We do have the unfortunate headlines still developing out of communities elsewhere in Georgia and in Alabama, where at last count, 14 people are believed to have died from storm-related injuries in the Lee County area of Alabama, between Columbus, Georgia, and Auburn, Alabama, following just some intense tornadoes that moved on through there.